What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Chris, and this is your weekly news recap. On this episode of the weekly news recap, we're going to go ahead and talk about how ESPN and Major League Gaming have announced a deal where MLG pros will be competing at this year's X Games. And afterwards, we're just going to go ahead and have a little bit of a talk about what's been going on with me and some things that you can see looking forward and a little bit of an announcement of stuff. So let's go ahead and jump right on in. So talking about ESPN and Major League Gaming, ESPN and Major League Gaming announced this last week that MLG pros will be competing in ESPN's X Games for a shot to take home a medal. So MLG is one of the biggest pushers right now of esports. They stand for Major League Gaming, and they've announced a couple pretty impressive things. I know this year they announced their expansion into Brazil, and they also announced that they were building the first ever gaming-based arena. I think it was off the shores of China, if I remember correctly. So MLG is actually getting really big when it comes to their infrastructure. And so they signed a deal with ESPN. And essentially what they're going to do is they're going to have 8 of the world's best Call of Duty teams compete in a 3-day tournament for a shot at an X Game medal. So it's kind of interesting to see. I know there's a lot of discussion still about if esports are even sports at all, if they should even have that name. I'm more in the camp of, well, they're sport, but maybe that's just me. I can explain that in a little bit. But yeah, so MLG is also basically they're going to have their own dedicated area at X Games, which will be hosted in Austin. And then MLG also says that there's going to be highlights of the tournament on both networks, so both the ESPN and ABC X Games broadcast, and then of course the entire tournament will be aired exclusively on MLG TV, their web, mobile apps, and all that other good stuff. The reason why I feel like this is a bigger deal is not necessarily because I like Call of Duty, because I really don't give a crap about Call of Duty anymore, just because the series has been going on for so long and there's really nothing new. It feels very stale to me. So I have no real preference for the idea of playing Call of Duty professionally. That being said, it's the idea of moving games even more into the mainstream. People look at esports like they look at football or soccer, and you can't do that. That's not a fair comparison, because those games are physical games and they do have mind elements. Whereas with esports are more like playing chess. Chess is a sport and has been for years and years and years. And it's always been about a mind game. It's always been about who can play things better. I feel like esports falls in a really good middle ground between being a mind game and being a physical activity, because you have to have your natural reactions, build up that instinct, have that natural instinct about what the map looks like, especially in shooters. So I feel like it's a really good back and forth for all of those things. And so, of course, it's definitely a sport in my mind. It's just not going to be a physical activity, which isn't necessary to be a sport if you look up the definition of sport. So I think that this is really interesting. It's going to move gaming even more into the mainstream. It's going to help give more access to where eventually you could see, these major tournaments having the possibility of, people actually having parties for them, like we would for the NFL or for, the World Series and stuff. So I find that really, really interesting. And again, it's just a nice big move for the gaming industry as a whole to gain that extra legitimacy. Alright guys, so I want to take some time to have a bit of a personal note here and just to really communicate to you guys what's been going on in my life. So recently what's been going on is I have some friends that are going through some really tough times, so I'm trying to make sure to always be there for them. I still work full-time at another job, and my brother and my 3 nieces are now going to be moving in with me. So on top of my mother getting hurt, and she's basically going to be limping around the house for 6 weeks while she gets healed. So there's a bunch of different stuff that's been going on with me, and just trying to constantly look for just a better job or whatever. I mean, not that I don't enjoy my job, but to be able to make enough money to live on my own. So there's been a lot of stuff going on in the last, well, frankly, since December, but really these last 2 months have been absolutely insane. So what I decided to do is I want to do more vlog style stuff with you guys. I want to really just kind of speak up to you guys and really just show the passion that I have that's more than just gaming. I like to study my free time constantly. I study politics and economics, and I like to study science, and I've been studying Christian apologetics, and I've been studying all these things, and I watch motivational videos every single day, and I go to the gym and I try to develop and push myself constantly. And I feel like I'm constantly surrounded by people that want to do these things but don't have whether it's the inspiration or the motivation or just the willpower to do that. And so I really want to influence people in a positive way beyond just gaming. I really want to bring out all of the passion that I feel like I have towards my own life and channel that towards other people so they can do better, so they can constantly be moving forward in life. So what I decided to do is to do that without necessarily quote unquote contaminating, without a better way of describing it in my own mind, a gaming channel, which is what I consider this, is I started another one called CMK Motivationals, and I put up some social media. I'm still establishing it. There's no content on it yet. It's just what I decided I wanted to do. I can't bring myself to put up a video about myself on a channel that I feel like should just be about gaming. So I went ahead and I did that. That's what I have planned. If you were looking to have somebody who is constantly introducing you to new topics, constantly having up-to-date and like fresh ideas on how to stay motivated, and just constantly looking at your own character, looking at your dreams and what you want to do to make you a better person, then go ahead and look at those social media accounts, add them on the ones that you prefer. Go ahead and look at the YouTube channel. I plan on putting up basically motivational trailers, some vlog stuff, some interesting topics that have come up as I've studied history. I love history. There's some crazy stuff. Actually, fuck it, I'm going to share one with you to give you guys a taste of what I love. So this is one piece. If you are looking for what I'm planning on doing, this is one piece that I know I'm going to share on my other channel. Fuck it, I'm just doing it anyways. It wasn't planned, but I'm doing this. So one of the things that has always inspired me, a story that's always inspired me, is the idea of what happened with George Washington after the Revolutionary War. Now, not a whole lot of people know about this, so this is something I think that will absolutely grab you by the belt and make you understand what character really is. So after the Revolutionary War, the Continental Congress had a very hard time getting money that was actually worth something to pay the Continental Army. And so a lot of the officers underneath Washington basically were getting disgruntled and were started planning to overthrow and kill all of Congress. Yeah, Thomas Jefferson, Madison, all these people that we know, Alexander Hamilton, although he's a sack of shit, as a spare note, they were planning on killing these people that we call our founding fathers. And so what ended up happening is during this secret meeting, when all the officers were getting together to plan the overthrow of Congress and install some kind of new government, they wanted to plan it out, George Washington overheard they were having this, found out where it was, and showed up. And this is the inspiring part. George Washington gives a speech in front of all of these men that he fought with, that he bled with, that he sacrificed with, Valley Forge, the whole 9 yards. Gives them a speech, completely unmoved, nothing. Still completely dedicated to the idea of overthrowing Congress. So in desperation, he reaches into his coat pocket and grabs out a letter. It's a letter from a congressman talking about how they're desperately trying to figure out a way to be able to make currency that is actually worth something to give to the soldiers so they can go back and live their life. But only a few moments into trying to read the letter, a few lines, a few words, a few stutters, George Washington has to stop. He reaches back into his coat pocket and pulls out his glasses, and that is when he says to these men that he bled with, "Men, please forgive me, for I have grown not only gray, but blind in service to my country." Now he goes on to read the letter, but in that moment, all of his officers, his subordinates that were planning on rebelling, started to weep, started to question their motives, and realized that here's this man who had given up so much for the dream of freedom, so much of his livelihood, his own personal experience, his health, everything, his wealth, everything that he had, for the risk at treason to be able to survive. And here he was, still standing tall, still encouraging them to just have faith. So George Washington reads the letter, and seeing what happened, walks away. And an entire rebellion is stopped. And it's stopped on one sentence. And it's not this fact that he was apologizing for putting on his glasses. That has nothing to do with it. What it is the fact that they realized this man had given up so much, and yet still had the character to stay with his dream. And so that's something I want to impart to you guys. What is character? Actually, coming up after this, I'll tell you about a character that I feel I found. But what is your character? What are you doing to develop yourself to be able to be like that? Because George Washington's made of the exact same bones and muscles and brain matter that you are, right? Or he was, I should say. You can achieve these things. You can have that kind of impact on people. Yes, there's going to be that part of your life that is the here and now, what you are, being in the right place at the right time. But in the end, you can still have that kind of effect, whether it be on one person or a million people, if you construct your life to be that way. So this is the kind of stuff that hopefully you guys can expect from my channel. I really want to take these kind of steps to encourage people. I want to talk about my own life story, stuff that hopefully you guys can share with me that you find that might be inspiring for other people, to really just encourage them that they're not alone, to help bring out the best in them. So that's what I plan for my other channel. And this will be basically my gaming channel. I'm going to kind of use them as together. So it's going to be like both sides of who I am. So you can hopefully expect a lot of that kind of content coming forward. And as I was saying, when it comes to a character that I know I can point you to, somebody who has character. If you're looking for somebody here on YouTube, I absolutely encourage you wholeheartedly to look up Square One Games. You can find a link in the description. I'll have an annotation on the screen. And if you want to, you can look it up in the search bar. Square One Games, all one word. There's a guy named Exonovant that runs the channel. Hard work and badass, and he puts me to shame when it comes to constantly engaging with people, constantly just being a good guy. The guy is humble as hell, and he's just a great person to listen to. He does what he's called the daily dose, and he just talks about sometimes his life, sometimes it's about gaming news, just whatever he wants. And you know what, though? It'll make you a better person for listening. He will make you a better person for listening to what he's gone through, just his honesty and his openness, and then also the fact that he wants to engage with you. You will become a better person. So, Exonovant, I know you watch my videos. High five to you, buddy. You're awesome. I haven't even met you in person, but it doesn't matter. You're a badass. Keep up the good work. All of you people who don't know who I'm talking about, you need to check out his stuff. Completely, 100% support what he does. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video, but in the meantime, my name is Chris, and I'll see you guys soon.